Huh?
What is that?
Who's that?
He's here for me.
Hey guys, it's Voice Critical here. Today I just found the most loaded bologna sandwich I could ever see in my entire life. Hey, what's up everyone? It's Dork here. Today we'll be talking about the Doktor Skipper video that was dropped a while ago. And the entirety of Godzilla Twitter is just destroying this thing, and just Godzilla fandom in general. There's like 15,000 responses right now because of this video dropping, and I'm just gonna give it my just whatever. As someone who actually watches Doktor Skipper.
I could swallow up, bottle up, open up, feel like Godzilla. Get out the way, Eminem! This is my video! Gojira, also known as Godzilla, is the most popular piece of Japanese media ever created. Let's just pretend anime is not a thing, okay, for like 20 minutes. Godzilla is so popular that a lot of people didn't even know that it originated in Japan.
Before I continue on with the actual thing I want to say, do not send hate to Doktor Skipper, or don't harass him any, because it's his video. You know, he made it the way he did, and he did what he did, and, you know, it shouldn't really affect us because it's just an opinion on the internet, nothing too major. It's not like he's control of the entirety of Toho and the franchise and make like 10,000 minus ones. That gets really repetitive after a while, unless it can make it work. But yeah, don't send hate to Doktor Skipper. With that being said, people do know Godzilla is a Japanese own property, whatever. People do know it's from Japan, like anime, like he said.
Or that it's in the public domain in the United States, since Toho, the company that created Godzilla, never expected the freak lizard to get marvelized one day. So they didn't renew and manipulate the copyright system like a certain company that does with all their beloved IPs.
Walt Disney?
In the United States, you just look this up. In the United States, Godzilla is still under copyright rule, and Toho still owns the copyright globally. It is not just a United States, he's free in the United States, because then we would have gotten movies from Disney, Paramount, Universal, not just Warner Brothers and Legendary. Also, NECA, remember them? Remember NECA? Went through WB to get to Toho for some of the licensing for some of the figures. Yeah, it's not copyright free. He's not into public domain.
But this free copyright for Godzilla is only in America. In Japan, our boy is still in shackles.
Here's a video. I'm just gonna post right here. What the lawyers are like at Toho in Japan and the States. Just to give a little brief explanation, just a little bit more.
I'm not Japanese, and I was born in 2002, the same year Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla came out, alongside Mike's new car. Does this have anything to do with Godzilla? No, it doesn't, but I'm keeping it in the video anyway.
I don't even know why I bother anymore. I don't even know why I bother. It's right there, Godzilla against Mechagodzilla 2002. We got the year right. He was born when the year that movie came out. Doktor Skipper, love you, but I need you to go back talking about the funny little studio with the stupid land that jumps up and down, the funny little short with the birds and me.
So yeah, I didn't really know anything about Godzilla for most of my life other than its influence on American culture. I knew more about Reptar and Shelley from Frankenweenie than the real Godzilla.
That's why I'm here to be the educator. Please let this be a normal field trip.
With a friend? No way!
But then in 2014, when I was 12 playing, I don't know, GTA 5?
Oh, my N-word, huh?
The first Americanized version of Godzilla came out. Yes, the first, because 1998 never happened. Jesus Christ.
Well, never mind. This video is perfect. He acknowledged it. 98 was a complete and utter fucking failure.
Fast forward to now, 2024. Japan has released a new Godzilla film starring Eminem's hit album Kamikaze.
Zombie brains make for bad sushi.
And in the States, Godzilla is now collaborating with King Kong in what looks to be a brand new Fortnite event.
Okay, as much shit as we give Doktor Skipper for this video, we can't deny that he was very right about Godzilla and Kong. It does look like a Fortnite event.
Godzilla is super interesting to me.
Look, Mom, I'm a Funko Pop. I finally made it. Kill me.
So I did a film study course in high school where the teacher was the head football coach that hated his damn life. So instead of teaching anything, he put on crash course videos from YouTube where Lily Gladstone from Killers of the Flower Moon taught me film history. Thank you, Lily, for sending me down a warpath with Letterboxd. Eventually, I started learning stuff for myself in film history, okay? I was hitting the books.
Then none of us would have to be making this video or a video like this.
Books being video essays from other idiot film geeks online. Thus, I went down in a really big Godzilla rabbit hole, and it gave me a big appreciation for the creature, its impact on filmmaking, and made me reevaluate how I look at the Godzilla brand as a whole.
Well, that's always a good sign, right?
Also, there's a big thing I need to address in this video.
I wonder what that's gonna be.
I kinda hate Godzilla, if we're gonna be honest.
Oh. No wonder why a lot of people are going after this video.
Get the f out, man.
To make this really easy for you to understand,
No, it's really easy to understand now.
Godzilla has what I like to call the Jurassic Park effect. Jurassic Park is a great movie that has cool dinosaurs and sexy Jeff Goldblum, but the film still has heavy messaging.
Movies like the original Godzilla, 84, 2000, GMK, Shin Godzilla, and -1 all have great monster sequences, but they also have meaning and messaging within it.
It's a critique on corporations and Walt Disney-like figures that try to play God on the grounds of greed.
Yeah.
The Raptors and T-Rex are awesome, this is very true, but they aren't just there for the sake of existing. The dinosaurs have a bigger purpose to the overall film, thus making Jurassic Park still iconic to this day.
What?
It also kind of revolutionized CGI and changed the landscape of film, yada yada. But Jurassic Park, yeah, the IP is now just CGI wars with Chris Pratt. I don't know what the hell a carbine rifle is gonna do to dinosaurs. I mean, Mark Wahlberg used a gun to fight metal aliens. I give up. And while still making a lot of money, because they sure as hell did that, they have like no cultural impact at all. This is what happened with Godzilla.
I kinda. I mean, some points Godzilla did fall off, but I wouldn't really call it the Jurassic Park effect because Godzilla did influence Jurassic Park.
I don't have any nostalgia for the old Godzilla movies. Yeah, I still watched them a bit when I was a kid.
The fuck?
And even rewatched them recently when I got the idea for this video. So no bias. 98% of them suck ass.
Like, I'm not gonna go on record and say all Godzilla movies are like that, but if you actually watched all of them, you would have been mentioning movies like King of the Monsters, Shin Godzilla, the anime trilogy, and whatnot. But yes, I do agree. There are a lot of Godzilla movies that are really, really bad, like Final Wars, Godzilla's Revenge, 98, Godzilla vs. Mothra from 1992. I get it. We have some really bad movies in the franchise, but not all of them are bad. Like, give them some credit. It's like me saying all MCU movies are bad when actually some of them are pretty good. Some of them are really good.
Godzilla fell into the same trap that all successful franchises eventually fall into. Godzilla's look was more fascinating to shareholders and executives than the original intentions and creativity that made him even exist in the first place. So they spammed out Godzilla films. He's fighting bugs. He's fighting mechanized versions of himself. He's fighting three-headed dragons. He's doing shit like this. Because why the hell not? And some of the films are fun, I'll admit it, but for the most part, a lot of the legacy of Godzilla just reeks of cheaply made cash grabs.
Well, they pumped out a lot in the Showa era, so I kind of see where your statement is coming from. But some of those movies in the Showa era, there are some weird ones, are, really well crafted and love made, even if people didn't like them, and I don't like some of them in the Showa era. So I get it. I get where this statement comes from.
So when Godzilla turned into a cartoon for kids, a lot of adults stopped caring.
What is this shit?
So then the cycle reset, and this time Goji went to America.
So I guess we're just skipping from Showa to Reiwa. Like, are we not talking about, the Heisei era, the Millennium era? Because there's pretty serious films in those era. And Heisei was majority pretty serious.
Where the same thing happened again. We got a serious Godzilla, then people complained that it was too serious with not enough Godzilla, so the franchise became Looney Tunes. And the sequel somehow had worse human characters, and then people got annoyed with Millie Bobby Brown, the fat kid from Deadpool, and Alfred from Atlanta spilling water on a computer to fry Mechagodzilla's motherboard to save the day. And this made some people not really like Godzilla that much anymore. And now Japan has gone back to reset that cycle. And from ground zero, we got a breath of fresh air again. So yeah, Godzilla is in a constant battle of balance balance between being really serious and being really stupid, but
I wouldn't say that the MonsterVerse characters are all just bad and like it's nothing. And people complain about it to be too serious. People complain about 2014 because you can't really see shit. Like, you legit cannot see shit. King of the Monsters had probably the best characters minus Skull Island. And I did like Vera Farmiga as Emma Russell, Kyle Chandler as Mark Russell, and Millie Bobby Brown as Madison Russell. Those were really good characters. And there was a really good drama within the monsters. So, yeah. And also, using 84, which is also one of the more serious Godzilla films, while calling it stupid, the little clip, no. You're kind of digging yourself into a hole, buddy.
it's 1925. Some dude named Harry Hoyt made a stop-motion dinosaur movie called The Lost World. Not the one with sexy Jeff Goldblum and people getting smoked in tall grass, but rather stop-motion clay. Which leads us to 1933, where Harry inspired a guy named Willis O'Brien to make a stop-motion movie titled King Kong that had a giant monkey going apeshit. This then inspired a Japanese special effects director named Eiji Tsuburaya, who ended up being the co-creator of Godzilla, which means America was 2001's Jay-Z the blueprint to Japan. Eiji Tsuburaya was making movies until he met this guy named Ishiro Honda.
Alright, to give credit where credit is due, Skipper does cover the behind-the-scenes history pretty well, so nothing to complain here. It's done pretty well. Any inaccuracies, just tell me in the comments below. But overall, from what I see and from what I know, what I've researched, it's pretty spot on.
Hell, one of the most popular films in 2022 was Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer, with the exact same intentions and messaging as 1954's Gojira. Even the main scientist character in Gojira was based off of Robert J. Oppenheimer, who was regretful of the atomic bomb's creation and spent his life blackballing the hydrogen bomb, which the testing of that hydrogen bomb affected Japan and got Gojira made in the first place.
Okay, so, back to normal mic quality. I can agree with a little bit of the statement. He is not wrong with the hydrogen bomb being the reason why the original 1954 Godzilla was made, but it wasn't the hydrogen bomb that Oppenheimer was regretting. It was the atomic bomb. It's just a little bit of a nerd thing because I do love the movie and the story of Oppenheimer, and I think it's just really fascinating how it also connects with Godzilla. But that's just me. But just a little just a little correction.
Godzilla is used throughout the film in strategic ways, representing chaos to human characters rather than being used as a sole spectacle, which benefits the film since that level of restraint makes Godzilla a spectacle anyway by default. His destruction of Japan is to represent the atomic bomb used on both Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and it's sad and scary, and this is elevated by the human characters that are portrayed to be survivors of a tragedy. The ending of the film even has this Oppenheimer-like character sacrifice himself to kill Godzilla with his own made atomic creation, and the reason he sacrifices himself is for the sake of humanity, making sure that the knowledge to the chaotic power that kills Godzilla dies with him. Even Godzilla's death in the film is not celebrated and cheered. His death is instead seen as a death that never needed to happen. The film instead uses its conclusion to say this, rather than celebrating.
To give credit, like where credit is due, and I have been wanting to point out some of the positive good things are in this video because not all of it, in my opinion, is negative. He does get the message and the theming of the original 1954 Godzilla really spot on. So, just want to point out that it's a really good positive, and I have nothing to complain.
The US doesn't have the same history of catastrophe as Japan did with the atomic bomb, and America is also obsessed with patriotism. So instead of making Godzilla an allegory for the consequences of mankind's actions, or have a much larger depth of Godzilla being a force of nature against the United States, he's now instead Superman, where he gets recontextualized to be Superman, which is hilarious when you rewatch 2014's Godzilla with this perspective after watching Japanese Godzilla films.
There was an entire era where Godzilla was a superhero, like Superman, and actually multiple eras in multiple movies. Godzilla 2014 is not the first one to be grounded, where he is also a threat. King Kong vs. Godzilla did that when Godzilla came ashore, people were running from it. Shit. Not, bruh. 2014 in the show era, are do have similarities.
It's funny when watching it because at first Godzilla isn't even the main focus of this Godzilla movie. It's this Japanese threat that Walter White is warning everyone about, and then Godzilla only comes on screen to handle business. And when he's attacked by the US military, at first he doesn't even retaliate or go beast mode. This dude is only hyper-focused on destroying this Japanese threat and shares this sparkle with the main character where they save each other. It's quite beautiful actually how much Godzilla cares about the whole world. No, he just cares about the US because when he goes to China, even that shit gets absolutely decimated in his ego fight with the gorilla.
I'm about to debunk this whole thing. You ready? The whole fight in Godzilla King of the Monsters happened in Boston, Massachusetts. Massachusetts is one of the states in the United States. Also, that's when Godzilla went beast mode and fucking blew up. And another counterpoint.
This is CNN breaking news.
The United States Navy's 4th Fleet is deployed off the southeastern seaboard of the U.S. after last night's sudden Godzilla attack. A time of relative peace shattered when the massive Titan, once thought to be a hero to humanity, made landfall in Pensacola, Florida.
Making Godzilla Superman is strange, and later in the MonsterVerse they try to add depth to this. Like, look, he actually killed a bus full of children, and this company called Monarch is really shady with documentation and control, and the whole world is still full of PTSD, which is cool at first, but then you remember this is the same guy in the same world where he teamed up with a monkey to fight a robot version of him that was made by a 3-headed dragon that got defeated because water was spilt on the computer, and then Godzilla and the monkey are teaming up to fight more monkeys, and now there's a baby monkey, and now he's pinking in Fortnite.
Oh, I love Fortnite.
Yeah, it's over.
Okay, so he just goes on a ramble how 2014 and like the whole entire MonsterVerse is flawed because Godzilla has nothing to say. And I just want to make a few course corrections, like not course corrections, corrections on his part. He says the Mutos are like Japanese monsters and the American monsters just there to save the day against the Japanese. The Mutos originally came from the Philippines in the movie, and they're parasitic monsters, so if they spread around, they continue to spread, so that's why Godzilla is there to defeat them. And Godzilla doesn't have to mean everything or anything. He can sometimes just be a silly, goofy monster, and other times he can be a monster with a message. Me, personally, I'm indifferent. I love the Godzilla movies with the monster with the message and fun monsters, whatever. But blah, blah, blah.
But recently a movie has come out that has blown all the Godzilla movies in the past 10 years out the water. And it was from Toho Studios, where Godzilla is back in Japan. And that movie was Takashi Yamazaki's Godzilla Minus One. Godzilla Minus One was why I made this entire video.
Okay, so I'm just going to put this out here. Guys, I'm going to be real with you. He probably made this video because he saw Minus One. He saw all the hype was about and all the hoopla and whatnot, and he saw the dollar signs because Godzilla is getting really popular. So he decided to make a bad take purposefully, and we're all making these videos because of it. Why am I making a video? Mostly because I'm bored.
Because it might be the best Godzilla movie ever made, and it actually made me feel something.
Hi, sorry for the bad mic quality. I'm just trying to get this video up, but I mean, I can agree with this a little bit. I think Godzilla Minus One is the best movie, but I feel like it's the only movie he's ever actually watched within the Godzilla franchise, minus the 54 movie and the 2014 movie.
I'm a big box office pessimist, and lately American blockbusters have been safe, generic, and boring, which is no surprise that they've been flopping left and right because people are burnt out of high-budget mediocrity.
I get where the statement's coming from, and I'm going to give Dr. Skipper the benefit of the doubt. Not his take on Godzilla. His take on Godzilla is factually wrong, and there's a whole YouTube channel out there. There's a whole website out there called Wikizilla that you know. He doesn't even need to read the articles. He needs to watch the videos. And Wikizilla has shit, but I don't want to talk about that. I just want to talk about just Hollywood and how, you know. I want to cover this in its own video soon, but for this video, I get where the genuine Hollywood slop comes from. Hunger Games came out, The Little Mermaid, Indiana Jones, The Flash, saw The Marvels, Creed, Blue Beetle, Shazam, hell, even Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. God, I hate Taylor Swift. And Aquaman 2, Wish. I'm just naming a bunch of movies right now on Letterboxd. I get it. The film industry has not made good movies. And, they have made good movies, but it feels generic at this point. There are so many other really fantastic flicks out there that came out this year. And I didn't even see most of the movies that came out this year because I get it, they're boring. They're not good. And I feel like most of it just stems from Disney. Disney is a big contender in Hollywood. People want to replicate Disney to be, successful, and they don't see that what they're doing is affecting their industry. That's why a lot of people don't see movies anymore, because people now are like, hey, I don't have to go see all these Marvel movies just so I can wait to go see this one. Or, hey, I don't really have to go see this movie anyways. So I get it. I didn't go see any of the movies that I knew were just going to be generic Hollywood junk. I tried to go see some of the movies by A24 and one of the actual artistic films. But I get it. Hollywood is just repetitive now. And thanks to streaming, everyone's just going to wait 2 months to go see it on streaming. And I want to cover that in its own video. But, I get where the statement's coming from. Hollywood needs to step up their game.
So to watch a Godzilla movie with compelling human characters, nuanced discussion with critiques on the Japanese government, while having havoc and consequences that feel impactful, while also having an antagonist that is menacing, threatening, and terrifying, all done with $15 million, was beyond satisfying.
This man really talked about -1 and showed clips from Shin. He doesn't even mention Shin Godzilla in this video.
Which brings us back to why America can't do Godzilla.
Alright, so, I skipped over a huge chunk, mostly because it was pretty spot on with the history of the Japanese propaganda within films, and just the overall story of Godzilla -1, which was very good. It's just really just to cover what he talked about. So yeah, that's it.
Back in 1954, when Godzilla came to the US, it was censored and remarketed to look like a fun blockbuster, similar to something like The Beast of 20,000 Fathoms, cutting 20 minutes of crucial political discussion, where then after the main lead was an inserted American reporter, where then the critiques of America's nuclear testing and nuclear power were also censored and changed. 1956 Godzilla King of the Monsters is a spineless shit movie that gutted the original impact of the 1954 version, and represents how the United States often views critical media.
Yes, the big talking point. Godzilla King of the Monsters, 1956. Yes, it was Americanized. Absolutely. Yes, it was censored in a way. But there are still the anti-war, anti-nuclear themes within the movie. It may not be as Japan-driven, but it's still there. Yes, King of the Monsters from 1956 is lesser than the original 54 movie. I will say that. People will have their opinions. I know a couple people who don't even like the 54 movie. That's okay. But, not all of it is removing the whole point of the movie. Hell, Raymond Burr character, he was personally, quote unquote, personally connected to Dr. Serizawa within the movie. And we all know what happens to Dr. Serizawa at the end. And Dr. Skipper also covers about the Department of Defense. And there's a film theory video out there talking about Department of Defense, which I think you should check out. Talking about how the military loves to fund movies that are very pro-military and pro-U.S. government. And I think that's a great video. But Godzilla 2014 is not a pro-military movie. Dr. Serizawa talks about 2 admiral stands within the movie on why the military should not be used and why they will just screw everything up. And he's right. He is right. And they do. It's not all pro-military. That movie's not all pro-military. In fact, it is very neutral with the military. It recognizes its flaws, but it recognizes its goods. It is just King of the Monsters. And just to clarify, America was not the reason why Godzilla switched to fighting monsters. It was Toho to compete with Ultraman and like other tokusatsu shows that were for kids. Because 1955, Raids Again, that was a movie. He fought Anguirus, King Kong versus Godzilla. He fought King Kong. 64, it was Mothra versus Godzilla, so on, so on. It was not Godzilla. And in Japan, they still call him Gojira. They do not call him Godzilla. They do not take the name Godzilla because of us. That's the translation. Gojira, Godzilla. But let's continue.
But what is art, and how do we view art? Is a nothing blockbuster funded by the US military better than a $15 million Japanese film with a lot to say because it made more money? Is King of the Monsters better than Gojira since it made more money? We're beginning to look at box office as this risk-reward system, where studios don't see the risk of making something if it can't possibly 10 times its original budget. If Barbie didn't make $1 billion, was it a waste of time? If Oppenheimer didn't almost make $1 billion, was that too a waste of time? And this rubs off how we view movies. If something makes a lot of money, it must be good, and if a movie flops, it must be bad. It's the same as judging a book by its cover. Yes, there's movies that spend way too much money not being creative because they believe they could 10 times their budget by simply existing. But then we get films like Gojira and Godzilla Minus One, which are real creative works of art that stand for something, and matter aside from just money, and they need to be praised. But like how everything works, Godzilla isn't liked because of what it stands for, because what America saw was a cool giant monster that attacked Japan, not an allegory for nuclear war. And what they see now is a Superman figure that could sell toys. Godzilla has become a mascot to make money. It's why I can't enjoy the Looney Tunes version. It's why Godzilla can't work in America. But when it works in Japan, it works. And it works well.
So, he just talks about the art of filmmaking and how studios, they're so safe and generic and they just blow up their budget and they expect to get the same money back, which I do agree on. But he says that America sees a funny little lizard and they can sell toys. You know, Japan also does the same thing with Godzilla. Literally, Toho milks Godzilla. Shin Godzilla was heavily milked. There's so many fucking toys of it, and that's a very serious movie. Some of the decisions were made of Shin Godzilla was just to sell toys. Japan also views Godzilla as the same way as Legendary and Warner Bros. Do. They use Godzilla for marketing. They use Godzilla for toys. It's not just they make a thought-provoking film, because what was Joker, what was the Batman? There's still characters that are used to sell toys, but they're also characters to tell thought-provoking stories. America is not the only one who uses Godzilla for toys. It is also Japan. Toho probably does it more than we do in the States. There are literally countless of movie monster series figures of Shin Godzilla. There's probably going to be countless of Minus One. It's not just America. It's Japan as well.
But if there's anything I can hope to get across with this video, it's to research the things you watch. And to give things with passion a try, even if you might not enjoy it. Some filmmakers actually give a shit about what they make, and use art to have a voice and tell stories without the dooming cloud of getting money from your pocket.
I can agree with the message of we should start giving films that have more thought-provoking narratives and stories and themes a try, because I feel like we should be supporting the artistic side of filmmaking. But there's nothing wrong with going to go see a good, just a cheesy old blockbuster as well. And I feel like there should be a well balance. Even Christopher Nolan even said that. Here's the post right here. But, that's it. But we actually might end on a positive note.
Minus One is a must-watch, but I fear, like 1954, it won't be acknowledged or talked about in the masses, especially in America due to its subject matter and being a foreign film. 2014 Godzilla, you still look good and are shot very well and have the best roar, but you're nothing but a soulless, nothing piece of propaganda that breaks my heart.
Okay. So, conclusion. He said research what you watch, and he did not do any research on Godzilla. Yeah, that's just a conclusion. He probably just did this video to start a buzz within the fandom and to gain traction because Godzilla is currently really popular with Minus One. and whatnot, and Godzilla and Kong New Empire. So that's just really about it. So thank y'all for watching. Skipper, if you watch this video, I like your content. I'm gonna continue watching it. You're not a deal breaker. It's not like you did anything bad. You know, just dumb opinions. I'm mostly just doing it for the same reason. Not gonna lie. Anyways, that's about it.
See ya.